Ready?
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. All right, we're with Lee Aase from the Mayo Clinic here, and Lee is in town to attend and present at the Blogwell Conference, correct?
I am.
All right, Lee, give me your title at Mayo, and then I want to talk to you about how you made that transition from a more traditional sort of PR environment, where a lot of us kind of grew up in the old days, to your new kind of portfolio and social media-based way of life now.
Sure. Again, my name is Lee Aase. I'm the manager for syndication and social media at Mayo Clinic. I've made that transition since about September of 2005 is when we started with it. Just by gradually moving, dipping my toe into it, moving our traditional media products, some of them like we created our first podcast in September 2005, by branching out a little bit in that way and getting some success with that, then over time we began to see that this was going to be more important. And as we continue to explore it, it seemed we still needed significant attention to national media and other traditional media, but this was growing as a part of my portfolio as something where it needed to be a focus. And so I guess it's about a year ago, we brought on we posted for a national media manager, and my title officially became in charge of our syndicated news products for radio, television, and a column that we have, News and Tribune Media Services. But then also making those directly available to patients and potential patients through the web, and giving a Twitter tweet, but also then moving beyond that, from just pushing out what we're already producing for mainstream media to producing longer format things that fit the medium, that fit the individualized media, and then providing, moving to a more interactive thing where we allow and enable patients and others to interact with our blogs and Facebook site and all that.
When you were making that transition, did you have any trouble or did you encounter any barriers with the administration at Mayo in making that transition? Because it did represent a fairly significant shift, and a lot of hospitals are contemplating that sort of chasm right now, but you made that several years ago. Did you encounter any resistance from the administration, and if so, how did you overcome that?
Well, first of all, I'd say we've got really great support from our department leadership in public affairs, and an interest in seeing that with the decline in mainstream media, you can't open the newspaper. Well, you actually can't open the newspaper.
You still have newspapers in Minnesota, right?
There still will be newspapers open for a little while.
Right.
But you can't check out the news without seeing about the Chicago Tribune bankruptcy, the Minneapolis Star Tribune bankruptcy, downsizing of these media outlets, and my division chair was eager to have us explore how are people going to be getting their information in the future, and so he was supportive of that. We did bring in a couple of consultants, Shell Holmes and Andy Cernovitz, about a year apart, to kind of help move us along.
Sure.
So it's always nice to have somebody from outside come in and say you're not crazy.
Right.
So that's been helpful.
Yeah. Now, for those people, for our colleagues out there at other institutions, especially hospitals, what would you say to them about ways to be persuasive with their administration to get them to be more open-minded in terms of considering moving to a more social media platform or more social media tools to complement their traditional media relations tools?
Well, one thing I'd say is that if you can use social media tools as we have to generate mainstream media content, coverage, that's a good, important first step, because it's not quitting your regular media relations to go do this other thing, but it's making flipped video files or audio files available through a blog, perhaps, to journalists that they can use and incorporate into their online stories. That lets you get some wins, so that you can say, this is really, this is valuable, it's really cheap, easy to use, and it gets you some some concrete results. But then I guess the other thing is I just say there's the other part of the advantage that we've had with Mayo is that while it's blogs are a new thing, word of mouth isn't. And the more organizations understand that word of mouth is the most powerful way of building a brand, these tools are just great for energizing that and providing an opportunity for that conversation to happen.
You're talking specifically about the Mayo Clinic Facebook page. You've got a lot of friends on that page and a lot of followers. How did you build an audience for your Facebook page?
Well, we've got right now, as we're talking right now, we've got 4,300 Facebook fans.
Yeah.
Last month we had 3,300. So, it is on the significant upswing now. And we started gradually with it. We just let people, we created the page, and then as people are joining, their friends see that they joined, and it just kind of grows over time. So there hasn't been a ton of promotion of it. We're changing that today. We were doing a news release today about our new Sharing Mayo Clinic blog.
Right.
That and in that we're using that as sort of a coming out party for our social media programs, and saying, oh, by the way, we have this Facebook page too, and this YouTube channel.
One of the concerns I hear from clients and potential clients and colleagues in healthcare, especially at hospitals, is we're concerned about what negative things or controversial things other people may post on our Facebook page, and what can we do about that? And I hear that in a tone that suggests a lot of fear and anxiety. How do you address, you probably come across that sort of thing too, how do you address that too?
Well, that is the big fear that people have, and I think it's mainly unfounded, unless, of course, you have a really bad organization. but in the last year, we've had something over 100 posts on our Facebook wall, and one of them could maybe be construed as bad.
Yeah.
And it was, then we just respond to it. You can respond to it on the same platform.
You didn't take it down.
We didn't take it down.
You left it up, and you responded. And what did the person say when you responded?
Well, it actually was a case of someone coming from Canada for treatment at Mayo, and it was a story about how he wasn't getting free care, or you expected that?
It's Minnesota, not Canada.
Yeah,
close, but not quite.
Yeah, and so there was a story that had been in the media in Canada about this person, and someone here posted a link about this story and said, "Hey, can somebody help out here?"
Yeah.
And so we couldn't get into the details of the case. We just said, we do have policies for this for charity care, and it goes through these guidelines.
Yeah.
We can't comment on a particular case, but approaching your doctor at Mayo about this is the right way to do it.
Have the Mayo attorneys expressed any concerns about privacy matters when it comes to social media, and how have you addressed that?
Well, with Facebook, it's, according to Facebook's terms of use. So, this is all individuals voluntarily going out to a site that's not Mayo's site and saying, sharing their stories or what they want to say. So it's, that actually was a comfort from the legal perspective, that it's, it's our Mayo Clinic Facebook page, but it's Facebook's.
Right.
So,
that's good to hear.
And actually, that's another thing I'd say is we've got a really good legal advisor, legal department, where they understand the importance of risk management, but also reward management.
Yes, that's the thing you never don't hear about.
You can always think of things that could go wrong, and mainly, it's kind of like it used to be that no one ever got fired in stockbrokers for recommending IBM, and no attorney ever got fired for saying no or cautioning against it. Yeah. So there's, those are some of the fears, and actually we've had a great legal advisor who says, that seems like a good thing that we should try to make happen instead of finding reasons not to do it.
Cool. So just tell me a little bit about why you're in town today, and what are you presenting on at the Blogwell Conference? I'll give you a chance to plug your new blog.
Cool. I'm here for Blogwell. Mayo Clinic is a member of the Blog Council, and this is there'll be presentations today in 2 different tracks. Mine's going to be on the natural progression of social media at Mayo Clinic. Kind of how we started with our podcast and moved into what we're announcing today with our Sharing Mayo Clinic blog. But also how it's consistent with the word of mouth method of marketing that Mayo has had over the last 100 years. And so that if an organization like Mayo Clinic can be involved with social media with all the supposed concerns about healthcare being involved in it, others can do it too.
Yeah. Cool. Well, good luck on your presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks for having time with me.
Yeah, glad to do it.
All right.
Okay.
This thing doesn't stop or start very easily.